Hello guys, I'm Super-On, welcome back to the channel, and we're here again at AUTOSHACK, and we have got another iconic 80s hot hatch. We've got the Mk2 Golf GTI 16 valve. This one needs a little bit of love. I've got a few little electrical problems to solve, so let's have a look. The customer gave us a list of jobs that he wanted completed, so I've been investigating them. They're mostly electrical problems. The driver's side electric window didn't work, the electric mirrors didn't work, there was a problem with the lights, problem with the rear wipers, just lots of little things. So I've had all the wiring loom out just to check that that's all okay under the dash, and took out a few little bits that weren't needed. Managed to free off the rear wiper. The rear lights aren't working, so we've got to investigate that. We've got voltage to the door, so it's the window regulator that's not working there, and the electric mirrors themselves, they've all got their voltage. I discovered a little fire in the headlight switch loom. That's the new one. This is the old one. As you can see, I've had a bit of a fire there. So that was a lucky escape, because this is burnt all the way through. So I think that's the problem with the rear lights. It's got a pretty cool stereo install. It's got door pods, it's got a moulded sub in the boot and amps in the quarters. It's got Fiesta RS Turbo seats in. So just tidying up a few jobs. We'll get a regulator on the way. It's the 16 valve engine and it fires straight up, so we haven't got to do any work there. We've got the Integrale still on the lift because decided to do a wee, and that was down to the radiator started to leak. So we got onto a Delta specialist and they've sourced us a radiator. So that's ready to go in. Another job to do. We've been flying along all the bike panels. As you can see, they're looking pretty amazing. Ready to go back on. So let's crack on. All the printed circuit board looks okay. Not peeling away, sometimes they separate, and the wiring behind it looks messy, but I'll tidy that up, and then I think we'll be all good to go. And all the clocks work, the lights work, rev counter, fuel gauge, so that's all done. So now everything's working. I've just got to tidy up all this wiring. And investigating why the number plates aren't working. A common problem on these is they chafe through, and this one's already had a previous repair on the wiring loom that goes from the body up to the boot. As you can see, these two here are the number plate lights. So I'm going to make a more permanent repair on this, solder them and then wrap them up a bit more, because it's all a bit bits and pieces. Then we won't have that trouble again. And all re-wrapped, got rid of all the old stuff, chopped all that out, chucked all that away, and we're all soldered properly, all taped back up, and now we have number plate lights. Back looking like a car again, all the wiring's tidied up and the fuse box is all back in. Next up is going to be fitting the centre console. It's going to be a bit tricky because it's got an O2J cable shifter set up. So it's going to be a bit tight to get that around. It might need a little bit of choppy, and then we'll get the lower trims in, and that'll be all the interior finished. And that's the interior all back in. We've got the centre console fitted around the cable shift gear stick. We just had to make a little cut around this bit for the spring, but it doesn't look too bad. Got all the under trays, all the steering wheel back together. So we're just waiting for the driver side window regulator and we'll be good to go. The Golf all done. Now on to the Integrale. As you can see, it's been leaving a little puddle on the floor. We've got the new radiator here. DeltaIntegrale.com sorted us out with that. So let's see how much room we've got. There's There's not a lot of room in these Integrale engine bays. The engine's right at the front, and then you've got the turbo in front of that. But it looks like the coolant leak is from right down there, just below that coolant hose. The end tank is actually leaking off the core. So it's just an age-related thing, but there's no chance of it coming out here. So I reckon it's going to be front end off. The new starter motor we've been waiting for has just turned up for the Mk1 VR6, the one we need, and also the fuel pump as well. So we've drained the fuel tank out, got rid of all the old fuel, and now let's get the starter motor in. So the VR6 starter motor is all in, fitted in there nicely, so that was the one we needed. We've drained the fuel tank because all the fuel was pretty old and manky. So I think we are ready for a test start. Well, it's alive. The little outlet for the brake booster wasn't connected up yet, so we had an air leak. So let's try again. Fuel pump primed. It's alive. Let that warm up, let the coolant bleed up, and check we've got no leaks. Well, we're all up to temperature, let's see what it sounds like. And while I was getting the Golf all up and running, Lee was over here getting the new radiator in the Integrale. We had to take the front end off and it just slotted out. But that is all in, filled up with coolant and ready to go all back together. Dream work makes the team work. Here's the old one, and it's just leaking from where the plastic end housing meets the radiator. So just an age of the plastic cracked. But now we're all good to go. And if they didn't look mean enough before, they look awesome without a front end on. And that's two more late 80s hot hatches that are given a few more years to live. The Golf is all back together, all the electrics are all finished, and the interior is all back in. The Integrale is all full of coolant and no leaks at all, so the radiators solve that problem. So we can get it back down on the floor, get these cleaned up and back to the customers. Hope you've enjoyed another AUTOSHACK snippet of what we've been up to. So make sure you subscribe, because next week it could be absolutely anything. We could be supercars, we could be classic cars, who knows? So make sure you tune in for that. But until next time, make sure you have fun.